parachutes yet.
Those can't be skydivers. I can't tell just yet what they are, but... Oh, my God, they're turkeys! Oh, Johnny, can you get this? Oh, they're crashing to the earth right in front of our eyes! One just went through the windshield of a parked car! This is terrible. The
Cars running around, pushing each other. Oh, my goodness. Oh, the humanity. People are running about. The turkeys are hitting the ground like sacks of wet cement. Folks, I don't know how much longer the crowd is running for their lives. I think I'm going to step inside. I can't stay out here and watch this any longer. No, I can't go in there.
Children are searching for their mothers, and, oh, not since the Hindenburg tragedy has there been anything like this. I don't know how much longer I can hold my position here, Johnny. The crowd...
Les, are you there? Les isn't there. Thanks for that on-the-spot report, Les. For those of you who just tuned in, the Pinedale Shopping Mall has just been bombed with live turkey. Film at 11.
Confessions of a Potentially Perfect Parent, brought to you by AdoptUsKids.org.
Okay, here goes. I know more about cooking dinner for a party of 12 than I do about packing a lunch for a 12-year-old. I know kids like things like PB&J, pigs in a blanket. Oh, and fish sticks. They do love fish sticks. Fillets I get, but sticks? What part of the fish does the stick come from? I know I can read a cookbook that'll tell me how to make a red wine reduction. But where are the cookbooks that can teach me how to cut the crusts off bologna sandwiches? Oh, maybe we can compromise on mac and cheese. Can you make that with brie? Everybody likes brie, right?
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who would love to push your food around their plate. Call 1-888-200-4005 or visit AdoptUsKids.org for more information. This message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt Us Kids, and the Ad Council.
Binge drinking, a common and dangerous behavior for all ages, is defined as 4 or more drinks for a woman and 5 or more drinks for a man over a short period of time. This risky pattern of drinking contributes to over half of the 79,000 deaths due to alcohol each year and a range of health and social problems, including unintended pregnancy, sexually transmitted diseases, interpersonal violence, and death through car crashes. Most binge drinkers are adults who drink too much from time to time and are not alcohol dependent or alcoholics. Effective strategies to create an environment that discourages binge drinking include increasing alcohol taxes, reducing the number of places where people can purchase alcohol, and reducing the days and hours when alcohol is sold. Binge drinking is a clear health threat for the drinker and for society. Be responsible to your family, your community, and yourself. Don't binge drink.
This episode of First Cup is brought to you by Wishing Stars Native Creations, Fine Art Today, and Marshall Woodworking. Check out these companies and many more by going to the Friends page at tinyurl.com/Gunther's House or tinyurl.com/GuntherMobile. Happy Thanksgiving, my friends, and welcome back to Studio 27 on this Wednesday morning. Coming up in just a moment, I'll have the composer's date book, the writer's almanac, with Garrison Keeler is also on the way. In the meantime, some more interesting Thanksgiving tidbits and information to impress your friends with at the dinner table tomorrow after you get done talking politics or whatever it is you discuss at your Thanksgiving meal. Let's see what I have for you here. Let's try this story out for size. It's going to take a little longer to make it to Grandma's this Thanksgiving, but it won't cost as much as it did last year. Thanks largely to lower gas prices, traffic today before the Thanksgiving getaway will be up about 3% from a year ago. That's according to an analysis by INRIX, a traffic congestion tracking firm in Kirkland, Washington. Now, the national average price for a gallon of gas for regular gasoline is $3.20 on Monday. That's about 21 cents a gallon less than a year ago, according to AAA. As usual, the Wednesday afternoon rush hour will occur about 2 hours earlier than normal, at about 3 p.m. instead of 5 p.m. Travelers in most major cities can expect traffic to start building up at around 2 o'clock this afternoon and easing probably around 6, with virtually no delays after 7. Along the East Coast and in the Midwest, INRIX expects steady traffic on roads throughout the day. Again, the heaviest between 3 and 6 today. On the West Coast, the company anticipates a light morning commute with very few delays. So some things to think about as you head out on the road. All right. Well, we'll have the Writer's Almanac in just a moment with Garrison Keillor, as I said. Meanwhile, let's find out what's going on board the Enterprise.
On Earth Day, it's Thanksgiving. If the crew has to eat synthetic meatloaf, I want it to look like turkey. Charlie?
Captain Kirk from ship's galley.
Kirk here.
Sir, I put meatloaf in the ovens. There's turkeys in there now. Real turkeys.
Chief, have you...
The Writer's Almanac podcast is supported by the Poetry Foundation, publisher of Poetry Magazine, now available in a digital subscription for iPad and iPhone. Subscriptions at poetryfoundation.org/digitalmag.
And here is the Writer's Almanac for Wednesday, the 27th of November, 2013. It was on this day, 1786, the poet Robert Burns borrowed a pony and made his way from his home in Ayrshire to the city of Edinburgh. He was a failure at farming, and after he got his girlfriend Jean Armour pregnant, he decided he needed to find a way to support the new family. He already had an illegitimate 1-year-old daughter whose mother was a servant in the Burns household, and she wanted some money. So he accepted a friend's offer to go to work in the Caribbean as a clerk in Jamaica, and he was all set to leave in September. A few weeks before his departure, he published poems chiefly in the Scottish dialect, hoping to raise enough money to pay his fare. And the book became so successful that Burns began to doubt that he should leave Scotland. And then Jean Armour gave birth to twins. And at the same time, Burns heard that his book of poems had been favorably received by some influential critics in Edinburgh. And so, full of hope, he borrowed the pony. He made the 2-day trip to Edinburgh. Along the way, he was entertained by farmers who had heard about him and who wanted to take him in for the night and to give big feasts in his honor. And he arrived in Edinburgh to find out that he was now famous in Scotland, and the trip to Jamaica was canceled. It's the birthday of the historian Charles A. Beard, born Knightstown, Indiana, 1874, who argued in his book An Economic Interpretation of the Constitution that the Founding Fathers wrote the Constitution as a way to protect their own economic interests more than for any ideological reasons. And he also saw the Civil War not as a war that was about slavery, but as a conflict between the agricultural economy of the South and the industrialized economy of the North. It's the birthday of the writer James Agee, born Knoxville, 1909. Today we know him for his 2 books, Let Us Now Praise Famous Men and A Death in the Family. But what he was known for during his own brief lifetime was his film criticism in Time magazine and then in The Nation. It was James Agee who argued that silent movies was the greatest era of comedy. People hadn't thought about that. They thought of silent movies as being old-fashioned. But James Agee's praise of silent movies helped to revive the career of Buster Keaton. James Agee died at the age of 46 in 1955. Here's a poem for today by Emily Dickinson from 1862, Much Madness is Divinest Sense. Much madness is divinest sense to a discerning eye. Much sense the starkest madness. 'Tis the majority in this, as all prevail. Assent, and you are sane. Demur, you're straightway dangerous, and handled with a chain. Emily Dickinson's poem, Much Madness is Divinest Sense. That's the Writer's Almanac, supported by the Poetry Foundation, publisher of Poetry Magazine, committed to discovering great poets and printing their verse. Back issues and subscriptions available at poetryfoundation.org. And by Lumosity. Lumosity.com's daily online workouts are designed to improve memory and attention and are dedicated to helping people feel sharper, think faster, and remember more. More at Lumosity.com. Engineered by Noah Smith and produced by Joy Biles. Be well, do good work, and keep in touch.
This is the Composer's Datebook for November 27th. I'm John Zeck. Also sprach Zarathustra, the tone poem of Richard Strauss, was first performed in Frankfurt am Main, Germany on today's date in 1896 with the composer conducting. For decades after Strauss wrote it, it was considered one of his lesser works and only occasionally performed in concert. Then, in 1968, Stanley Kubrick chose its opening fanfare as the main theme of his enormously popular movie 2001, A Space Odyssey. Suddenly, Also sprach jumped to the top of the classical charts and became a concert hall favorite as well. This despite the fact that many in the audience are quite surprised when the piece actually goes on for another half hour after its spectacular opening sequence. Another composer who benefited from Kubrick's movie was the Hungarian György Ligeti. Until 2001, Ligeti's fame was limited to avant-garde circles, but his 1961 composition Atmospheres became part of the 2001 soundtrack and catapulted Ligeti to much wider fame. Ligeti's eerily floating sound clusters seemed to Kubrick perfect outer space music. Ligeti himself was not terribly impressed with how his music was used in the film, but grudgingly has expressed admiration for the film's surreal final sequence. Richard Strauss died in 1949, some 20 years before Kubrick's film debuted, but we suspect that hard-headed businessman would have been pleased with the success of his Zarathustra music in 2001, but would have promptly demanded a hefty cut of Kubrick's royalties. For more on practical composers, go to our website, composersdatebook.org. Composer's Datebook is a production of APM, American Public Media, and the American Composers Forum, reminding you that all music was once new.
Welcome back to Studio 27 on this Thanksgiving special, First Cup, episode number 70. It is the 27th day of November. And right now, what do you say we take a look at celebrity birthdays? Sounds like a good plan, doesn't it? But this is after we get done paying a visit to the Munsters at 1313 Mockingbird Lane.